The Sterling family dining room was a stage set for a play that had been running for generations. Crystal goblets caught the low light of the chandelier, casting prismatic shards over linen so white it hurt to look at. Silver cutlery, monogrammed and heavy, lay in perfect alignment. The air smelled of slow-roasted beef, expensive wine, and attention so finely honed it was almost musical. I, Lyra Sterling, sat in my assigned seat, second from the head, on the left. The position spoke volumes. Not the heir, that was my cousin Julian, at my grandfather's right hand, but close enough to be visible, responsible, presentable, a supporting character in the sterling drama of sterling lives. The argument had begun as a low hum, a disagreement between my Aunt Penelope and my mother about the upcoming garden party. It had escalated, as it always did, to matters of inheritance and entitlement, and then it found its target, me. The necklace was the catalyst, our grandmother's Art Deco diamond necklace, a waterfall of cold stones that had once graced the cover of a society magazine. On her deathbed, her veined hand clutching mine, she had whispered, "For you, Lyra, for your quiet strength. It should go to someone who sees its history, not just its price." My cousin Portia, seated across from me, wanted it for her wedding. No, needed it. "It's the only thing that will work with the vintage lace of my gown," she declared, her voice a practiced blend of whine and command. "Grandmother would have wanted it to be seen, not locked away in your dusty apartment." My apartment wasn't dusty. It was orderly, like my life as a senior archivist at the City Museum. But to the Sterlings, anything not glittering was dust. "Grandmother's wishes were clear, Portia," I said, keeping my voice calm, the way one might address a spooked animal. "Grandmother's wishes were clear, Portia. It was in the codicil to her will. I'm sorry." "Sorry?" Portia's laugh was a sharp little dagger. "You're sorry? You who just take and take from this family? Do you even understand what this family has given you?" A hush fell. This was familiar territory, the unspoken ledger of my existence, the private schools, the vacations, the unspoken but ever-present sense that my place was a fragile gift. "I am aware of my upbringing," I said stiffly. "Are you?" My Uncle Robert, Portia's father, set his wineglass down with a decisive clink. The sound was a starting pistol. "Are you truly aware, Lyra? Because sometimes your entitlement suggests a profound lack of gratitude." My father, Charles, finally stirred. "Robert, that's enough. The necklace is Lyra's. The matter is closed." But the dam had cracked. Portia, seeing her father's support, lunged for the kill. Her eyes, a flat, sterling blue, locked onto mine with pure venom. "It should never have been yours. You don't deserve it. You're not even a real Sterling. You're not even blood." Silence. Not a quiet silence, a vacuum. It sucked the air, the light, the very sound from the room. I could hear the frantic, distant pulse in my own ears. I saw my mother, Eleanor, flinch as if struck. Her hand flew to her throat. My father's face drained of all color, leaving him looking like a marble bust of himself. "What did you say?" The words left my lips, but they sounded alien, distant. Portia, realizing the magnitude of what she'd unleashed, faltered for a second, then doubled down, her voice rising to a hysterical pitch. "You heard me. You're adopted. We all know it. Mom and Dad took you in as a favor, a charity case, and you've been acting like a princess ever since." The word charity hung in the air, monstrous and final. I turned my head slowly, mechanically, toward the two people I had called Mom and Dad for 29 years. My mother was crying now, silent tears carving paths through her meticulously applied foundation. She didn't deny it. She didn't say, "It's a lie, darling." She just cried. My father found his voice, but it was hollow, stripped of his usual authority. "Portia, this was not your truth to tell." Not, "It's not true," but "not your truth to tell." Confirmation. It landed in the center of my chest with the weight of a planet. my entire history, my sense of self, the mirror that had shown me a sterling face for 3 decades, it was all a meticulously maintained fiction. Under Robert's side, a theatrical sound of long suffering. Well, the cat's out of the bag now. Yes, Lyra, you were adopted. Your mother, your biological mother, was in no position to care for a child. We, my brother and his wife, stepped in, out of the goodness of our hearts, a favor to an old acquaintance. He made it sound like taking in a stray cat. It's high time you showed some appropriate gratitude instead of making demands about heirlooms. I looked at each of them. Portia, triumphant and vicious, Robert, smug and dismissive, my Aunt Celia, avoiding my gaze, Julian looking uncomfortable but not surprised, and my parents, my adoptive parents, one weeping, one defeated. They all knew, every single person at this table of polished oak knew I was living a lie, and they had conspired, through silence or active deception, to keep me in it. The necklace wasn't the issue, it was the key they'd use to finally pick the lock on their resentment. I didn't feel the rage yet. That would come later, in waves so hot that they would threaten to scorch my sanity. In that moment, I felt a profound, chilling clarity. I stood up. My chair didn't scrape. I lifted it, setting it gently against the table. A lifetime of training in sterling decorum held, even as my world disintegrated. A charity case, I repeated, my voice unnervingly steady. I see. I looked at Portia. Keep the necklace. It clearly means more to you than it does to me. I let my gaze sweep the table, lingering for a fraction of a second on my mother's tear-streaked face, my father's ashen one. Thank you for the clarification. I turned and walked out of the dining room. My steps echoed on the marble floor of the foyer. I didn't grab a coat from the closet. I didn't look back at the portrait of my sterling grandfather that dominated the entrance. I opened the heavy oak door and stepped out into the cool autumn night. I walked down the manicured driveway, past the imported topiaries, and out through the wrought iron gates that had always symbolized security, but now felt like the bars of a very beautiful cage. I had no purse, no phone, no keys, just the silk blouse and trousers I was wearing and a secret that had just been detonated inside me, leaving a crater where my identity used to be. The 2-mile walk to my apartment was a blur of streetlights and numb shock. The city noise felt muffled as if I were underwater. The word echoed with every step. Adopted, charity, favor. When I reached my building, a modest but elegant brownstone I paid for with my museum salary, the realization hit me. My keys were back at the house. I rang the superintendent's bell. Mr. Petrovsky, a kind elderly man, took one look at my empty hands and pale face and let me in without a word, fetching his spare key to my unit. My apartment was dark and still. It was my sanctuary, filled with books, carefully curated art prints, and the peaceful order I craved after a lifetime of sterling chaos. Tonight, it felt like a stranger's home. I stood in the center of the living room, the silence pressing in on me. Then the first tremor hit. It started in my hands, a fine vibration that traveled up my arms and seized my core. The numbness shattered, and in its place rose a torrent of questions, each more terrifying than the last. Who was I? Who was my mother? Why did she give me up? Was it money? Was it shame? Who was my father? Did they know about the Sterlings? Did they know what their charity felt like? And the most painful, insidious question of all, did my parents, Charles and Eleanor, ever truly love me? Or was I always a burden, a favor, a line item on a moral ledger? The tears didn't come. My eyes remained dry and burning. Instead, a cold, sharp sensation began to crystallize in the chaos. It was a feeling I knew intimately from my work, from piecing together fragmented histories from scraps of parchment and faded ink. It was curiosity. But this wasn't academic curiosity. This was a visceral, survival-level need. The Sterlings had defined me my whole life. They had given me a name, a history, a set of expectations. Now they had ripped that script away and revealed the stage was empty. I had to know who the real actor was. The next week passed in a monochrome haze. I called the museum and took a leave of absence, citing a family emergency. The irony was bitter. I emailed my parents, no, Charles and Eleanor, a single sentence: "I need space. Do not contact me." They respected it, which felt like another betrayal. Wouldn't real parents fight? Wouldn't they bang on my door, begging to explain? Their silence confirmed everything. I was a problem they were now content to let lie. I became a ghost in my own life. I ordered groceries online. I ignored the buzzing of my personal phone, which was filled with tentative, gossip-hungry messages from friends in the Sterling Circle. The world had narrowed to the four walls of my apartment and the vast, echoing landscape of my unknown past. My professional mind, trained for research, kicked in as